We are going to look at what we consider best practice, and in particular, how to manage your trades. Um, as I was planning for this class, I kept asking myself, what would people be struggling with most? And I guess many of you almost read my mind, because when you start trading, your nightmare is when your trades go south. Basically, when you start losing. Now, you can lose, but then there are times when you're forced to lose, you know. You can lose because the trade is going south, 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 but then eventually, uh, because you have set the system to stop you, then it actually stops you. And eventually, it piles up, becomes heavier and heavier and heavier. And then you look back, you lose pretty much your capital. So that is what I want us to look at today, and then figure out, how we can fix that, how we can make you a better trader. And this is by no means a one-off. This is a continuous process. We will be talking about the trades and how to manage them almost continuously, because trading is a journey. It's not a one-off. It's not like knowing mathematics, like 3 plus 6 equals 9, and you know for sure equals 9. No. It is like riding a bike. You have to practice over and over and over. You have to fall down a few times. You know, you come out with scars, blow accounts. That's all part of trading. And that's why uh, just just before we came into this class, I was looking at somebody's statement. I think she's here, Phoebe. She has done very well. Um, Despite having a bad start, and this is very typical of Forex. The fact that you started off badly does not always determine the future. That's the good thing. So I know she started off with a big loss, and so was struggling with a balance of already, I think, 800 or something. And today I've seen she's made a comeback. She's made all the way up to 900 plus. So which just goes to tell you that, the fact that you have a bad day or a bad start is not indicative of how you will perform tomorrow or the day after or your future in Forex. One thing for sure and for free that you must accept is part of learning Forex is also losing. And that's why I encourage people that it's better you lose in a safe, controlled environment. Like now. Now, all of you guys are lucky because, I'm here and we are here and we are trying to help you manage your account collectively. So this is a place to lose. This is a place where you can lose and shrug your shoulders and say, even tomorrow is another day. Okay? And that's why I want you guys to continue asking, continue trying, continue, managing your account, and then ask. Because when you go live and you start, trading real money, you will not have the benefit of this group or myself and the other, people here to help you or even to talk to. You'll be on your own. So while you're here, enjoy the ride. This is it. This is the time. This is the time to ask all the questions you ever thought about. Okay. So it's interesting that when we talk about losses or losing a trade, okay, it's like you lose a trade more often than not from bad entries, or you didn't take the profit when you're supposed to, uh, and so if you have bad entries or you didn't take profit where you're supposed to, or something similar, where do all these things come from? Well, the bad entries come from bad analysis or none at all. How many times do you go to the charts and decide, I'm going to take a trade? And then you look at the chart right there and then in front of you, and you see like the chart is going up. And then you just jump in, you start taking your buys. Or you see the chart going down. And then what do? You start taking the trades, sell, sell, sell. Now, that is a problem. We don't do analysis. Okay? And when we do, we don't do it properly. And that becomes a problem. So, in particular, today we look at what a stop loss is. Okay? What is take profit? How do you use them? And what is the best practice, especially when you're using stop loss and take profit? And then what is a margin call? So in a way, they are kind of related. Okay, stop loss. All right. What I will give you, I'll give you very, very basic, fundamental, definition of what it is. But essentially, if you need to dig in more, you can always read some more. But I'll give you what you need as far as being able to maybe take your trades, okay, and make profit. So stop loss. Well, stop loss is like, and I'll make reference to scalping a lot. And I'm using scalping because I am a scalper. But even for the long-term traders, the swing traders, you don't intend to have your account hit a stop loss. Usually you don't. Okay. So when you enter your trades, let's say this is your entry. I'll use entry, and you're taking a trade at, let's say, euro US dollar. Okay, let's say it's a euro USD, and it's at 1.3251. Yeah, 51. Okay. I think it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places. All right. So, assuming that actually you want to enter a sell, okay, you want to enter a sell, which means that the market will go down. Okay, if you're entering a sell, you looked at the charts, and maybe the chart is doing something like this. Okay, so you're entering somewhere there, and it's at 1.3251. Now, if the market is going down, naturally, what will happen is these numbers will decrease. Okay, and you're saying you want to take your profit maybe when it reaches there, and that is 1 point maybe 3241. So between here and here, that space there is 10, actually 10 pips. If you subtract this from that, you'll get 10. Okay, so because it is 10, please look at this number here. This is your intended take profit. So that's your entry. So your take profit after 10 pips will be 1.3251. 0.3241. Why? Because the market is going down. So if this was a graph, the x-axis is time, so your time will be moving at time x. You're taking the trade here, but you're saying at time x, if you look at the y-axis, assuming there's a y-axis here, the y-axis will show the graph moving down, okay? And that is, so this, okay, this is your y-axis, okay? Sorry. Yeah, so the y-axis actually has the currencies, graduated. So that's, and then it keeps going down, 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 and so on. So this is your 1.3251. Then 10 pips later, that's where you are. Now, that is take profit. If for whatever reason the market decides that it's going to turn around, maybe there's some news or something has happened, and instead of going down, it decides to start moving up. So it goes down, and then from this point, it decides going to play around there for a little bit, and then it starts going up, down there, and then up a little more, then down there, and then up a little more, and so on. So you have to decide very quickly how far you want it to go up before it's too late. How far up? Okay. Now, often, again, for smaller trades as a scalper, okay, when the reason why we put like a far stop loss in scalping is because it's assumed that you are trading in a fast moving market, which means that even this occurrence will be very rare. And when it does, you'll be there to watch it happen so that you can then stop your account or stop the loss before it's too late. Now, unfortunately, if our take profit is 10, all right, for right now, I've been telling you guys to put stop loss of 35, which means it's about 3 times your take profit. Now, whereas that is good, this 35 pips, the danger with that is you might take 5 trades and 3 of them are good, or even 4 are good, and 1 of them becomes a loss. With this take profit of 10 and stop loss of 35, you might find that actually you end up being in a loss, okay? Because the win-loss ratio, win-loss ratio will be pretty bad, and especially in terms of the number of pips. So yes, you have 4 trades, or yeah, you have 5 trades, 3 are wins. So if the 3 are wins, then on each is 10 pips. So you get 30 pips, you've won. All right? And then assuming that you lose the other 2 trades, okay? And each is 35. So 35 times 2 is 70. So you find your win to loss ratio is 30 to 70. Now, that ratio is not very good. Now, when we put a stop loss, this ratio of win to loss ratio, okay, is what many people, many professional traders look at and advise. They tell you your win to loss ratio, okay, should not be, well, if you're gonna risk 1 pip, then you better as well take 1 pip as profit. Now, if you're gonna risk 1 to 2, that is still acceptable. You can risk 1 to get 2. All right. When you start going for 1 and you lose 3, then people start getting worried. So your win to loss ratio should not be more than 1 to 3. You don't want to risk 1 pip to get, or rather, 1 pip to get 3 pips, because sometimes the risk is, should I call it the other way around? Your losses will outweigh your wins. So what am I saying? What I'm saying now here is, in this simple trade we said here, this was 10 pips. Your profit, if it came down there, you got your profit, which is good. If it went against you and it went to maybe 1.328, so as you see clearly, you have lost 30 pips. So if it goes up to here, and that is 1.3281. If it goes that far, then you will have lost 30 pips. Okay. Whereas initially you are going for 10 pips. Now, most people will say anything beyond that is not a good win-loss ratio or your risk. So they say that if you're going to take profit, okay, to your stop loss, make sure that it's 1-to-1, worst case scenario, okay, or you can risk 1-to-2, okay, stop loss. But if it goes 1-to-3, then you start questioning whether it's worth it. All right, most of this will become clearer as we go on. So let me put some other numbers on the charts to, again, to show you what I'm talking about in terms of profit. And let's see if I can clear this. Okay. So let's assume that the market now is going up. So I'm going to use this for the market going up. Okay. The market is going up, and right now it's at maybe 1.0971. All right. And you are hoping to capture 20 pips there. So 20 pips will probably put you to something like, okay, 1.0991. Okay, and the last low is actually, let's say, 1.0941. So then the question is, what should we put as your take profit and what should you put your stop loss? And what is the ratio between your take profit and your stop loss? So this is your entry. So your entry is here. Red is not a good color here. Okay, so this is your entry. Okay, and this is your take profit, and this is your stop loss. So what is your take profit in terms of pips? That will be 20. Okay, so if you subtract this from the, this entry from the upper number, you get 20. As you subtract the stop loss from the entry, you find it is 30. So what is the risk to your take profit? So your take profit, TP, is 20, and your risk is 30. Now, Is that a good ratio? If you ask me, that's pretty good because the ratio between this and that is like 1 to 1 point something. So you're only risking, for every one you're risking, you're taking profit, you're only risking like 1 point something, which that is okay. However, if your stop loss here maybe was at 1 point, let's say 902, 901, okay, 1.0901. If your stop loss was there, then you'll have a problem because now your profit is 20, but your loss is actually 70. See, now you start getting in trouble because you want to get 20, but you're saying you're willing to risk 70 to get 20. Is that a good deal? Okay, you don't have to answer, but I'm sure you get my point. You get what I'm trying to say. Okay, it means you're willing to risk more than 3 times what you have just to take a profit of 20 pips. All right, so this is not good because this is like 1 to 3 point something. Okay, 3 point something. Now in scalping, this may be acceptable, but I say it with a bit of difficulty because it gives the perception that you're willing to risk 3 times what you're willing to make. That's the perception created. But in scalping, it has a dual purpose. Okay? In scalping, the idea is you're going to be in and out of the market quick enough, so much so that the stop loss doesn't really matter. You never allow your trades in scalping to go to a stop loss. If it starts going against you, you very quickly intervene and get out. But if you are to leave it, remember your risk to reward is loop-sided, which means if you have 10 trades all running, and you have a ratio of 1 to 3, okay, by the time they actually do take a loss, it will be 10 times 3, okay, which will be 30. Now, if you are doing 10 pips and you're willing to lose 30 pips, then it will be 30 times 10, which is 300 pips. So what am I saying? If you break down these things into science, all we are saying is minimize your risk in terms of losses, minimize your losses. That's why we keep saying we'll manage our losses. How do you manage our losses? By starting to have very tight stop loss. Tight stop loss. Now, let me first address people who are on long-term trades, which I'm assuming here there might not be very many. But if you are doing 1 hour, 4 hours, okay, 4-hour trades, then daily. Now, with those kinds of trades, you can afford to put what we call a tight stop loss. What do I mean by tight? By tight, it means if your entry, whether you're doing a buy or a sell, it doesn't matter. The point is, if your entry is actually like 1.8341, okay, and maybe you are going on a buy, well, you can actually afford before you put your stop loss, you can afford to look at the far left, the last low that was there. Okay, you can use the last low, but that if that is very far placed, then you can just put like 3 or 5 pips. Let's say maximum. Let's say 5 pips. Assuming you are targeting maybe 10 to 20 pips. All right. So if minus 5 pips here, so your stop loss will be 1.8. Oops, sorry. 8. Okay. If this is 5, it will be 3.6 because it's a buy. So you have 5 pips stop loss. But the assumption then is you're doing at least at minimum 1-to-1, which in this case, your take profit is actually 83.41. Okay, 1.46. Okay, 46 plus 5. Okay, or double that, it can be 51.8351. Okay, and so on. Anything above that and you're risking 5 pips for it, that is okay. All right. But you don't want to risk 5 pips if you're going to make 5 pips or 4 pips. No, that would be stupid. Sorry for the use of the word, but you don't want to risk 5 to make 4. You don't want to risk 5 to make 5. Is it worth it? 5 to make 5? Not a good idea. Okay. Minimum, try to shoot for 1 to 2. Now, they say for the higher time frame, like 1 hour or 4 hours and so on and so on, sometimes you can close your eyes and take trades of 1-to-1. Okay, you can. Why? Because the assumption is in those longer time frames, the market is more likely to obey or to actually, respect what you've just put. But on a smaller time frame, doing a 1-to-1 is not good, not a good idea. Okay, so I know I've kind of gone through stop loss and take profit and I've actually mixed them up. Okay, but the point I'm trying to bring across is don't risk the same as the number of profits you want to take, whether it is 5 pips or 10 pips, is not a good idea. Now, for longer time frames, sometimes yes. So all these things I'm saying will depend on the market itself. And especially, okay, like in the last, if it is a buy, then the last low, okay, if there's a wick involved, you need to make a good decision. Okay. Similarly, if it is going down, the market is going down, then you look at the last high. If there's a wick involved, then you have to make a decision accordingly. Now, before we get into, well, we can look at how we use them. Okay, let's look at how we use them. Okay, and this is basically the best practice. And then we'll jump to the margin. So, and you can start preparing your questions in a minute. Okay. So I'm gonna enter a chat here. Okay. Okay, let's see. Yep. Okay, can you guys see the chart? Oh no. Okay. Okay. So this is an example of Euro USD, and this is a 30-minute uh, time frame. So in this case, let's even try. Let's see. I will pick a random place. Okay. So let's assume the market was here, was at this point, at that point. Okay. In fact, I'm going to erase that. I'm going to use a marker here. Vertical line. Okay. We assume the market was there and you want to enter. Okay. Because maybe you thought that was the last high. Again, assuming you've actually entered your support resistance points. You see, right now, if you're here and you didn't know all this, you would not know whether to go up or down in terms of a trade. Others might just say, well, because the market looks like it's going up, I'm going to enter a buy, which may actually be a problem. And that's why I keep telling you guys, you need to first know the market you are trading in. So whereas we are here, you don't know if the market is going to go up or down. You didn't know about all this. So then what you do, okay, I've pushed it to the right. Are you able to see the right-hand side? Okay, I don't know if that can be seen.
Yes.
You can see that?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Good. Now, this is a classic example. You'll find that many times when you're doing this trade, you have a dilemma. The dilemma is, should you take a sell or should you take a buy? Now, unfortunately, most people, because they see this is a buy, it's going up, they will take a buy without looking at the history. Okay. So, but how do you understand the history? The history you understand by making the chart smaller so that you understand if this is actually a support zone, okay, or resistance zone without making that error. So clearly, okay, that's okay. I think if you look backwards, you'll find that there is something. Okay, and I'm not even gonna go far. See already, there was something there. All right. So, but at that point in time, you are not aware, you didn't know that it's gonna go up or down. So in taking your trades, you have to make some decisions. Let's pretend that you knew it's going to go down. So you want to enter. All right. So you enter the trade there and you want to know, like, no, let's pretend it was going to go up. And so often, maybe if you're entering there, you want to put your stop loss, maybe the last low, which is here. Let's pretend we didn't know. So your last low is actually here. So this is your stop loss. Okay, so your stop loss will be that number over there. Well, what they do. So this would be your stop loss, that number. Okay, and this is where you are right here. So how many pips is that? From there to there, 26 pips. Now, if it's 26 pips, your stop loss, this is your entry, then you know very well at minimum you must be making 26 pips and above. At minimum, you must be looking for 26 pips and above, which would put you at 1962, no, 30 actually. Well, yeah, 30, 1630, 1630. So that's minimum 26 pips, all right, or more. So please note that here our risk is 1 to 1. Our risk to reward ratio is 1 to 1. Again, long-term trading, that is okay. It's okay. But usually the longer the better. But assuming the market doesn't go the way you're thinking, which in this case it didn't, let's see what happened. All right. Then instead of taking profit there, so we are okay. All right. The market came down, down, down. Our stop loss is on this brown thing here. Keeps coming, and we narrowly missed it. See, up to here, we would have been on negative. Your trade would have been on negative, almost negative 20 pips. So usually, if you knew the market was supposed to go up, but it didn't, it starts going down, at that point, you have to make a quick decision. The decision is, should I kill the trade or should I let it go? Now, that decision will be informed by the overall structure of the market that you've just witnessed. Clearly, this market is going up, which means that if it has not gone very quickly to your stop loss, okay, it may actually have a chance to go back up and get your profit. Okay. However, if it moves down quickly, if you see these things are becoming big, you know, the candles are becoming very big, chances are it might actually go down all the way and hit your stop loss, right? But let's see what happened. Because the candles are very small, you are lucky it didn't hit the stop loss there, and it starts going up. And at this point, it becomes positive. The very moment it comes to your entry point there, your negatives have suddenly become zero, and now it's becoming more and more positive. Okay, so see what happens. So ideally, if you had a take profit of 26, you would have hit somewhere by now here, okay, and you're done with the trade. So this is a live example of what would have happened to a particular trade that maybe started off badly, but then it goes on and takes profit later. But the lesson to learn here is the very moment it starts going down negative, you have to make a decision quickly. Often you realize you took either a bad trade or just the nature of the trade itself. Okay, the market was retracing before it goes up. But in particular, what will happen is you have to make a decision. Is this an uptrend, or is it consolidating, or is it a downtrend? If it is a downtrend, you kill the trade as soon as you realize. If it's consolidating, you have to ask yourself, are you at the high of the consolidation, or are you at the low point of the consolidation? Okay. And what will happen? So if the market is coming back down and you're already minus 20 something there, for it to actually turn back and go up, it means it has to go all the way down here and then go up. And by that time, if you're already minus 20 there, it'll probably be minus 60 or 80 by the time it gets down here. And that may become very expensive. So sometimes it's better you kill the trade when it's minus 10 because you can easily make plus 10 up above than minus 80. All right. Sorry, that was a bit long. I'll quickly jump to margin call because that's probably another question. And then I'll open it for questions and answers. So that took a little long to explain. Oops, so we actually have 5 minutes. Margin call. All right, let me talk about the margin call quickly, and then I'll send another link. Okay. Share. So for the margin call, I will just let you guys kind of look at the definition so that we can, okay. Oops, sorry. Okay, it might be a long read, but let me just read it for you, and then we will try and see if I can explain a little longer. In forex trading, the margin call level is when the margin level has reached a specific level or threshold. When this threshold is reached, you are in danger of a loss. Okay? A margin call is a notification which lets you know that you need to deposit more money in your trading account or close losing positions in order to free up more margin. When the market moves against you or against your open positions, your margin level falls. And then there's a small example there that says a margin call occurs when the percentage of the equity in the account drops below the maintenance margin requirement. How much is the margin call? For example, if you're looking at 30% for 12,000, okay,